Hey fellow RVers, Steve here with RV Site to Site. Now sometimes when things go wrong, we think the worst. Now I want to be totally transparent with you. I'm a Christian. And my guidebook is the Bible, and the Bible tells me, according to Romans 8:28, that all things work together for good to them who love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. And I've always said, all means all, and that's all that all means. So, all means not only the good things, but the not so good things as well. And I think you'll see that this trip that we took to the Ark Encounter in Kentucky exemplifies that truth. Now before we get into it, let's roll that intro. Before we made our way to Kentucky, and now we had stopped in Mount Airy, North Carolina, Andy Griffith country, and from there we went to Beech Fork State Park in West Virginia, where I met a very good friend of mine. And you might want to check out those videos. We experienced a tornado in Mount Airy and very narrow mountain roads with switchback turns in West Virginia. Now from there, we would travel about 160 miles west to Whispering Hills RV Park near Georgetown, Kentucky. And on the way, we stopped at a couple of rest areas, and we had no problems stopping there. However, when I pulled into the check-in lane at the beautiful Whispering Hills RV Park, our problems began. I'd turned my truck off to check in, and after checking in, I got in the truck and turned the key, but it wouldn't start. I have two batteries, and both are brand new, and every time I turned the key, the engine would spin but wouldn't fire. And I was very embarrassed. I was blocking people that were trying to check in, and people started gathering around. I wished I'd filmed all of this, but unfortunately I didn't. And this phenomenon is called delayed intelligence, and I have that a lot. Several men offered suggestions. Well, you have fire, so either you don't have fuel or you don't have air. Well, yeah, that's the three necessary ingredients for an engine to run. Now, the staff assured me that I was fine, that they would simply redirect traffic behind me and have someone to pull me to my site. And that's when God sent an angel named Jasper. He worked at the campground. He looked under my hood and he said, well, first, let's get you to your site. He hooked his Chevrolet truck up to my Ford. Okay. Hold the comments. And pulled my truck while I was still connected to my fifth wheel to the site. And once there, he helped me disconnect. And once disconnected, he pulled my truck a little bit forward. And he said, look, I'll get off work soon and I'll come back to look at your truck. I'm a certified diesel mechanic. In fact, I'm certified on your particular engine. I thought, wow. Did I mention that he was an angel? A little after 5, he showed up with some high-dollar test equipment. Now, after much testing that evening, and then he came back the next morning, he determined that the high-pressure oil system was not allowing the injectors to fire, but he was also not equipped to fix that problem. He recommended that I call Paul Miller Ford in Lexington, and after talking with them, I called AAA, and a few hours later, they sent a truck. Well, they tried to load my vehicle, and it was too small to handle my truck. They promised that they would send another one, and they finally brought the right truck the next day. They loaded it and took it off to Paul Miller Ford. Now, Jasper knew that we wanted to go see the Ark, so he offered us the use of his wife's car. Well, I didn't feel comfortable about leaving his wife with no transportation, so I told him I really appreciated it, but I would have to decline. And later, I heard a knock on our camper door, and it was the owner of the campground. And he said he had heard about my predicament and that he offered me the use of a Jeep. He said I could use it to go to the Ark, go to Walmart, or wherever I wanted. And I could use it as long as I wanted. I told him that I really appreciated the offer, but hopefully my truck will be ready soon. Now I'm thinking, Jeep, like an Army Jeep?
Look, Radar, our Jeep. It's a general's Jeep.
No. What they've done in order to get into the officers club is they put a general's flag on our Jeep.
It's not.
And I didn't feel comfortable driving Renee and I around in an Army Jeep. I found out that repairing my truck was going to take about 3 days, so the next day I bit my pride and I went to the office. And I told them that the owner had offered the use of the Jeep and that I would need a key. And well, they looked and they couldn't find it. We'll bring it to you when we find the key, they said. About an hour later, the owner showed up with the Jeep, and oh my goodness, it was an almost brand new Jeep Rubicon. I'm talking 362 cubic inches, 470 horsepower. Use it all you want and take it anywhere you need to go, he said. At this point, I'm amazed. God has surrounded me with some wonderful, giving Christian people. If I'd been broken down at any other place, it would have been a disaster. We decided to go to Walmart to get a few things, and when I climbed into that Jeep, the rumble of the engine made my heart race. I was a teenager once again. The next day, we headed to the Ark, which was about 30 miles north. The drive was absolutely beautiful through Kentucky rolling country, and the Ark Encounter is amazing. Be prepared to do a lot of walking. The place is huge. About 2 years ago, I busted my Achilles tendon on my right leg, so I rented one of those scooters, and Renee rented one too. In fact, if you rent one, you'll have plenty of company. Be sure to get one at the building where you get off the bus that takes you from the parking lot to the attraction area. It's about a mile trip. And the food there was great too. We finished the day with a photo of Renee and I in front of the Ark. The next day, the dealership called and said that my truck was ready. Renee and I took the Jeep to pick up my truck at Paul Miller Ford. Renee drove my truck back to the campground while I led the way in the Jeep. And I filled it up on the way back and returned the key. I offered to pay the owner for the use of it, but he told me that no payment was necessary and that he was just happy to help. This bad situation turned into a very good thing. My hat is off to Paul Miller Ford, who understood my predicament, and they put a rush on getting my truck fixed. They did a great job. They didn't overcharge me, and my truck now runs great. However, I especially want to thank Jasper and Julie Davis, who showed such amazing Christian goodwill to Renee and I. I also want to thank Travis and Becky Ott, who own the Whispering Hills RV Park and who are also good Christian people. Their generosity allowed Renee and I to enjoy our several days there while waiting for our truck to get repaired. So let me tell you a little bit about this wonderful park. It's located just off of Interstate 75 north of Lexington. Practically a destination campground within itself. You approach on Rogers Gap Road, and once you check in, you will be escorted to the one of over 200 sites. And after you get situated, you'll want to explore the swimming pool, the playground. You might want to watch some fish in the koi pond. You'll probably want to check out the community building and maybe try your luck at fishing at the catch and release pond. The campground has private showers and 2 laundry facilities. Your canine friends will enjoy the dog park. In the evening, you might want to gather with some of your friends around a fire at this beautiful pergola. This place is a wonderful hub if you want to experience the amazing Ark Encounter, which sits on over 800 acres. The Ark, which is huge, measures 510 feet long, 85 feet wide, and 51 feet tall. You also might want to explore historic Georgetown and its many quaint shops and eateries. Remember, Kentucky is horse country, so you should be sure to visit the Kentucky Horse Park, where you can take a horse-drawn tram and do many other things there. So if you're traveling anywhere near this area of Kentucky, I highly recommend Whispering Hills RV Park. Please tell them that Steve and Renee Atkins sent you there. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up for this video. Until the next time, may the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.